Okay, welcome back. Now our next mission is to add materials. So right now everything is appearing gray. Let us add the material. So to add the material now, first thing is now come here to view, and in the camera option, switch off this lock to camera view so that the camera position is now fixed. We are happy with the camera position, and for actually material addition, either you can come in the view and you have an option here called as shading. So you can come in the top and choose the shading option, the default layout of now here shading. If you come to general, you have one option called shading. So come to this shading view, and in the shading view you have one new button here. If you click on this new material button, this will add a new material, or you can come to your default view, select the object. I'll come back to the select box, select the object. This is the object for which I have to add the material, that is cube. You can come here to the material option here and click on new. Either you can click new here or in the shader, and when you click on new, you see the material here, and I am going to name this as wood material 1. So I'll give it a name. So after giving it the name, now coming back to shading here. So I'll come to the shading option here. So one second, I'll just come to shading option, and in the shading option now, right now I doesn't have any material applied. So as soon as I created the new material, you can see two options here. One is the PBR, physics based renderer. So PBR, this principal BSDF, this has lot of parameters which is connected to material output. Either you can make the modifications here, or you can come to the texture icon here and make the modification here. So I say, for example, if I select the base color and select some other color, that color will be applied. So right now let us set it back to 0, so that that is, now let us make it pure white. And then here, if I click on the option here, so if I click on the option here, I have one option here called as image texture. So instead of adding color, I am going to add an image texture. So when I click on image texture, automatically a new node is added here. You can see a new node added here, and this new node image texture, either I can click here open, or I can click here open, and clicking it, I can come to this folder and I am going to select wood base color 1.jpg. I will select this file and click open. So now immediately you can see this texture is applied to this piece. I'll press shift and middle mouse and pan it up. So this texture is applied over here. You can see the texture. However, this texture what we have applied, if we want to edit it correctly, we have to use UV editing. Now in this option, I am going to come to this UV editing, or what I will now do is I will click here, I'll come to general and I will choose UV editing. And when I select UV editing, you can see all these faces. So every face that I select here, I can come to face select tool here, and every face I select here will be visible here. I can select all the faces here. So I'll come back to edit mode, and in edit mode I select all the faces, and you can see the faces here. I'll press A to select everything. And now if I come back to, if I just come back here, what I will do is, in this view I am going to change this view to say for example texture view. And now if I scale it, you can see how the scale is working. You can see how all the objects are getting scaled. Okay, so either I can do the scaling here, but this is not the right procedure to do the UV editing. The other way we are going to do is, I will cancel this. Now I will come back here to the shading, and in the shading, if you see this wood, that is this wood base color 1.jpg. If you come to this file, this has a new tag here called as vector, and I can connect this to another. See, I can drag it from here and I can select a new input, and I am the input, or I can just shift A here, and in input now I am going to choose UV map. So if I choose UV map, I have a new UV map, and here I will select UV map. And this UV map, before I connect it to vector, I will just drag one more tab, and or I will press shift A here, and this time I am going to come to vector, and in vector, a vector device or a vector node called as mapping. I will add a mapping node here. I will connect this UV to this vector, and then from this vector I will link it to this vector here. And now here in the scale, you can see the scale is set to 111, and here I am going to set the X scale to 5, and you can see how the texture changed, and also Y scale to 5. I will scale it 5 times. So this way, this is the right way of applying UV texture. So now we have added the UV texture, and we have mapped it, and we have set the scale value. Everything we have done it using the nodes. So now after we have applied the material to this cube, then you have this drawer, which is cube 3, you can see here. And for this cube 3 also we are going to apply a material, but this time for this we are not going to create a new material, but come to the list here and choose this wood material 1. So let us apply this material to this drawer. So now after adding the material, wood material, the next part material we have to add is for this stand. And for this stand, we are going to create a new material, and let us call this material as chrome. So let us call this as chrome. And now for this chrome, we are going to add a reflective material. But before we add a reflective material to this chrome, we have to set our environment, because what reflection it shows in this stand depends upon our environment. So to set up our environment, now come back here to the shader. So let us come back to the shader here, and from object mode, let us change to world mode and click on use nodes. So when I click on use nodes, you get one background icon and world output icon. So for this, now I will press shift A, and I will add a new texture here and call this as environment textures. I will place it over here, and I will link this environment texture to this color. So after linking this, now what I am now going to do is come back here to the environment texture here. So I will click here open, and in open, now when we downloaded the files, apart from this wood base color, we had downloaded one environment file called as environment.hdr. This file I have already provided you. So select this file and click open image. So this environment is added to this image now. Okay, so if I come to the default view, you can now see this is a big environment image which has been added over here. So we have a big environment here added over here. If I press 0, you can see the camera view, and this environment has been now added. But even after adding the environment, still now this is not appearing like a metal. So our next job is to set this metallic property. So to set this metallic property, now let us come back to shading here. So coming back to shading here, and in the shading now, What we are going to do is, I will select this object. Now I will come back here back to object mode, and we already have this default PBR material, principal BSDF and material output nodes already here. Now to make this material reflective, what we have to now do is, now come back to this principal BSDF, and here in metallic, let us drag this and set metallic value to 1, and let us reduce the roughness to around 0.1. So let us make it around 0.1. And now if you rotate, you can see the metallic structure of the stand. You are seeing the metallic structure. If I come back here to the default view, so you can see this appears metallic. You are having a metallic view over here. So we have added the chrome metallic finish to this frame. Now apart from this, we also have some base holder here. So that is cube 001. Select this also and set its material to chrome. Okay. So now let us just preview this once, clicking on the sneak peek. So if you preview it, everything is fine, but this appears very bright. This is very bright. So let us close this. Now come back to the scene here, and coming back to shading, change this back to world, and here in the strength of this background, let us change it to 0.6. And now if I come back to default view and if I click on sneak peek, okay, so now the brightness is reduced slightly, and you can see this is what the model is. So you can see the reflection, everything. So we have successfully now added the texture and the background HDR. So let us continue with adding the more environmental material, controlling the environmental material in our next session. Thank you.